Right, so today's session, because obviously it's early, it's just on 9:30. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend just a little bit of time doing that extended warm up that we do to improve our flexibility and improve our mobility. I'm not going to spend all the session doing that, and then I want to do some balance. So the first part will be sat down stuff, doing stretches, really getting into those muscles and those joints. And then the second part, we'll do some dynamic balance stuff. So obviously for the second part, you'll need something fairly sturdy to hold on to, whether it's the back of your chair or your wall or back of your sofa or whatever it is you're going to do. Right then, so without further ado, hopefully you can see me. I've got the wrong shaped box. Let me just come over here, try and get a little bit closer. Right. So just starting off nice and easy, just hands up. I just want you to give your hands a shape, just side to side like egg whisks. Egg whisks. There we go. And then up and down, just nice and floppy with your wrists. And then twisting. And then fingers in and out. Lovely job. Right, hang on a second, hang on. I'm just going to come a little bit closer. Just, blimey, just for this bit. Right, so, say your prayers. So fingertip to fingertip, palm to palm. Just spread your fingers ever so slightly. What we're going to do is we're going to keep the whole of the hand in contact with the other hand and slide those hands down until you start to feel a stretch through the wrist, and then just bring it up just to relieve that stretch. And then just bring it down again. So all we're doing is sliding the hands up and down, just nice and steady. You might find you can get a little bit further each time with that slide, and you should be just feeling that stretch through the back of the wrist, sorry, so through the soft part of the wrist, perhaps just into your forearm as well, sliding up and down. Marvellous. Okay, so just relax there. We're going to do the opposite, so we're going to put a little bit trickier this one. So we're going to put the backs of the hands together. And again, oh, hang on just a second. Just let Andrew, you're in. So the backs of the hands together. And again, do your best to try and line up your fingers. And this time you're lifting up and then bringing it back down. So slide it up. Try and keep the backs of the hands in contact with each other. And then back down. This kind of move. I know it looks a bit weird. It feels a bit weird, but hopefully you're getting that stretch through the back of the hand and then through the knobbly bit of the wrist. Marvellous. Okay, and then just relax there. Just give your hands just a little bit of a shake. We're going to just continue with the wrist. We're going to do this twisty one, which is a little bit awkward. So I want you to start off with your hand, with the palm of your hand pointing towards you. And then with this other hand, you're going to come round the front and hold onto your thumb. And then you're going to rotate your hand. So you start to twist your hand. So you start to feel a stretch. And then release. We'll do that again. So the palm of your hand is facing your face. Your other hand comes round, grabs the thumb, and then rotates. And then back in. We're just going to do that one more time. Twist. And back in. So if you've ever had any problems with your wrists, hands, perhaps you've broken a wrist, these are good exercises. So we're going to do the other one, the other hand. So again, palm of your hand is facing you. Your other hand reaches around the front, holds onto your thumb, and then rotates away. And then back in, and then rotate. Hello, Andrea, if you're there. And release. And one more time, just twisting. And then release in there again. Just give your hands just a little bit of a shake. Right, bear with me just a moment. Feet, any legs, I don't mind which. I've got my blue socks on today. Just flexing that ankle up and down. And then side to side. And a circle. And a circle the other way. Same leg. Just a little bit of a shimmy, just a little bit of a kick, forwards and backwards, nothing too aggressive. I just want that knee to be loose. Marvellous. Okay, relax there. The other leg, so again, ankles up and down. And side to side. And a circle. And a circle the other way. And then those little kicks. Nothing too dangerous, just be careful of your knees. And relax there. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of a warm-up for our hips and our lower back. I want you to think about your sit bones, those bony bits in your hips. If it helps to find those sit bones, then just shimmy that flesh just to one side. Both feet flat on the floor, and you're going to sit up nice and tall. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a loosener for our lower back. We're going to start off nice and gentle so that we do get the most out of it, and we're not hurting our backs. We're going to just put our hands on our knees just to give us some additional support. And what we're going to do is keeping from the tailbone to the base of our skull straight. Just come around here, keeping straight. So remember, we're not slouching. So even though we're going to be moving forwards and backwards, this area here stays straight. So we're going to lean forward, keep the back straight, take some weight onto your knees, and then push back. And then a little bit further, and push back. And then again, coming forwards and back. So we're just gradually warming up that lower back. You're also actually warming up through the hip area as well. You might feel it through your bum, but go with where you feel comfortable. If it feels kind of nice just to hold a position, just to get a nice stretch and then push back up, then please do. Just go with where you feel comfortable. As long as that back is staying straight, I don't want you thinking, wow, I'm doing amazing here, and this is your body position where you've rounded your back. Just focusing on keeping that back nice and straight. As we come up and down. So just a few more for me, just in your own time. Fabulous. Okay, so just relax there. So just a little variation on the theme with that. What we're going to do is we're going to do some circles with our torso. So again, our sit bones stay fixed. We're not going to be lifting our hips as we rotate round. You put your hands on your knees. We're going to keep that back straight, and we're going to kind of circle. So think about, you'll want to lift your hip bones. You'll want to lift those seat bones. So try and avoid that temptation. So just nice and smooth. And again, if it feels kind of nice, just to hold a position as you're rotating round. And guess what? Hold that position. Do what feels right for you. Just nice and smooth. And hopefully you'll feel any aches just sort of easing, stretching out. Okay, so just relax there. We're going to go in the other direction. So again, just rotating around nice and smooth. It might feel very different. So again, just pay attention to how it's feeling and just think, oh, I'm just going to just hold that position because it feels nice. Fabulous. Okay, and then just coming back through to the center. Okay, everyone all right? Super job. Right, okay, so what's next? Okay, so a hand, I don't mind which, you're going to reach up as high as you can and then back down. Same hand, reach up as high as you can. Perhaps you can go a little bit further and back down. And again, reaching up and back down. Okay, same hand is going to reach up. And this time, once you've created that length through that side, you're going to lean across. And then you're going to stretch back up again. Really reaching up, keep that length, and then lean. And then back up one more time, really stretch up, lean across, keep your bum flat on your chair, stretching back up, and then back down. We're going to do the same on the other side. So we're going to reach up a couple of times first of all, just stretching up, and then back down. And again, reach it up, and back down, and reach it up, and back down. Okay, so again, this time we're going to add the lean. So we're going to stretch up first of all, create the length through that side, and then lean across. Keep your bum flat on the chair, stretching back up, Create more length and then reach. Back up, reaching up, last one, this. Leaning across, back up towards the ceiling, and then back down. And just give your shoulders just a little bit of a shake. Speaking of shoulders, I want you to lift them up as high as you can, and then slowly lower. And again, nice and high, and lower. This time we're going to lift up, and roll back. And up, and roll back. One more time, up, and roll back. So we're going to increase that movement through the shoulder. This time, we're going to touch our shoulders. Think about your elbows. We're going to roll our elbows up, back and down. Up, back and down. So as always, the movement that you're comfortable with. If one shoulder's a little bit tricky today, and you don't want to move it quite so much, that's fine. Just do what you feel is comfortable for your shoulders today. We're going to go in the other direction. I don't often go forwards, but we're going to do it anyway. So we're going to go up, forwards, and down. Up, forwards, and down. One more time. Up, forwards, and down. And then just relax there. Everyone all right? Okay. So just a little bit with our hips. A leg, I don't mind which. I just want you to step out and step back in. I'm not sure you can see that because I'm wearing dark coloured tights, but your knee is also going out and then going back in. So stepping out and back in. Don't worry, I will make this a little bit more tricky in a moment. I just want to get the movement through the hip before we go into some of the more bigger movements. And back in. We're going to do the other side. So again, stepping out, make sure the knee also steps out and back in. Stepping out, back in. If you can go a little bit further each time, so you're getting more movement through that hip, then please do. One more. Fabulous. Okay, back on the other side. This time we're going to lift up and down, up and down. So thinking about that hip, those muscles through the front of the hip, just coming up, and then nice and controlled back down. Fabulous. And then the other side, lifting up and back down. And again, just nice and smooth. One more. Lovely job. Okay, and the circles now. So we're going to slide, lift, in and down. Same leg. Slide, lift, in and down. Make it nice and smooth and circular. One more, slide, lift, in and down. And the other leg, slide, lift, in and down. You know this, nice and smooth. Just trying to get the lovely rotations through that hip joint. And steady there. And your other leg, we're going to lift, move out to the side, down and in. Lift, out, down and in. And again, that's it, you've got it. Once you've got the movement, nice and smooth. Fabulous. Back to the center. And the other leg, up, out, down, and in. Nice and smooth. Imagine that kneecap is drawing a circle. And it's a nice smooth circle. One more for me. Fabulous. Okay, and relax there. One arm on top of the other. Nice straight backs. I just want you to do a short little movement from side to side. We're going to do something a little bit more vigorous in a moment. I just want you to get that movement through the lower back and through the tummy, and through the ribs. Fabulous. And relax there. Keep your hands where they are. Still sitting up nice and tall. This time I want you to bring both elbows and back in. So there's a carry-on film, isn't there? We're not going as quite as vigorous as Barbara Windsor in that carry-on film. I just want you to open up through the front of the shoulders and chest and then bringing it back in. Okay, and relax there. Okay, so this time we're going to do one arm and we're going to open up and turn and then back to the center. Then the other arm is going to open up and you're going to turn with the arm and back to the center. Then the other arm. Open up and turn back to the center. One more on the other side. Open up, turn, and back to the center and relax there. So the last, did I say that was the last one? This is the last one, anyway. Last one, hands on knees, sitting up nice and tall. Just bring your shoulders back just a little bit. We're going to lift both arms up as high as you can, really stretching up and back down. And again, lifting up, stretching up as high as you can and back down. So this time we're going to add a rotation through the torso, and we're going to lower the arms. Now the arms will come down. So as you're turning, your arms will come down, one to the front and one slightly behind you as well. We've done this before, so go with it. Nice and tall, hands on your knees. We're going to stretch up. Then we're going to twist from the tummy. Then we're going to lower our arms. So one will be to the front, one will be behind you. We're going to lift both arms up. And then we're going to turn back to the front. We're going to turn all the way around the other side. We're going to lower. We're going to raise. We're going to twist to the front, and then we're going to lower our arms back down. And we're just going to do that little sequence. Let me just check on time. We're just going to do that little sequence one more time. So sitting up nice and tall, hands on knees. We're going to stretch up as high as you can. We're going to rotate from the waist. We're going to lower our arms down, raise our arms back to the center, twist the other direction, lower our arms, raise, back to the center, and then slowly bring those arms back down and give your shoulders a little bit of a shake. Right, so that's the stretching part done. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit more flexible. So the rest of the session now, I'm going to concentrate on balance. I'm going to try and do some dynamic balance exercises. And as always, when you're doing the exercises, if you need to take a rest, please take a rest. I'm going to show you a couple of little variations depending on how you're feeling today. So some of them will be a little bit easier than others. I will add difficulty as we go along. We all right? Yeah? Stand up for me, please. Stand up for me. Get your support, whether it's the back of a chair or, just turn that round, or a wall or your worktop, whatever it is, you'll need your support. Right, so just before we get on to the balance stuff, I just want you to stand with your feet at a good hips width apart. Let me come back here so you can see my head. All over the place. There we go. Right. Little knee bends. Just little knee bends. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Nothing too deep. I want you to keep your feet flat on the floor. I just want you to get a little bit of movement just through the knee joint. You might feel a little bit of a stretch through the back of your lower leg. Sorry, Mum. Your mum's got a little bit of a problem with her leg today. Just take it nice and easy. Fabulous. Little bit, just bring your legs just a little bit closer together. Just want you to come up onto your tiptoes and down. I'm not doing balance just yet. I just want to just get a little bit of movement, a little bit of blood flow through the lower leg. So just up onto your tiptoes and back down. Basically an extension of the warm-up this. One more for me. Super job. Right. What's the first one? Rope, tightrope. Right, so the tightrope. We're going to do the tightrope progression. We're going to start off on a simple tightrope stand, and then we'll develop it onto the one-legged balance. So you've got that image in your head of what a tightrope is, and someone standing on it. So the heel is in contact with the toe of the other foot. If this position with your feet in a line is too difficult, perhaps you've got a problem with your knees or a problem with your hips, what you can imagine is standing on a balance beam. So you know in gymnastics, that 6-inch beam that you see the girls doing their flip-flaps on, it's about yay wide, isn't it? 6 inches. So instead of standing on a tightrope, imagine you're standing on that balance beam where your heel is still in line with your toe, but you've just slid the front foot across just a couple of inches, and hopefully you can see that on the camera there with me pale blue socks on. If you can get onto the tightrope position, please do. So whichever position you're in, let's talk about a few things. So both feet flat on the floor. I just want you to think about that for a moment. So think about how your feet are in contact with the floor. Can you feel every part of your foot in contact with the floor? So we're not too far forwards, We've not got additional pressure on our back leg. We're trying to find that Goldilocks zone. You've got your hand in contact with your support. And then I want you to stand up nice and tall. So your weight should be centered over both feet. Your hand is resting nice and lightly on your support. That imaginary piece of string is being pulled up from the top of your head. Shoulders are nice and level. So settle into this position just for a few moments. And as you become more settled, think about what you're doing with your hand. So instead of gripping the top of your chair, perhaps just rest your hands on the top of the chair, or even just rest a finger or two, fingertips. And if that's feeling okay, you might want to just raise your hand just a couple of inches off the chair. You can always put your hand back down. And just gradually building up the length of time you can take your hand off the back of your support. So you should be looking straight ahead, looking at something that isn't going to move, something on the wall. That will help your balance. If you're looking at something that's going to move, that's not going to help your balance. Okay, I just want you to relax there, and then just take your feet off your imaginary tightrope or your imaginary balance beam, and just give your legs just a little bit of a shake. Okay, I want you to go back into exactly the same position. Same leg is the forward leg. All right? I'll just give you a bit of a breather there. So we're going to do the progression now where we take it to a one-legged stand. You might see me moving around a little bit. You do not need to move around. So onto your tightrope, first of all, or your balance beam, whichever version you're going for today, balance beam or tightrope, both really good to practice your balance. Settle yourself. Use your supports if you need to. Okay, so what we're going to do from this position, we're going to gently shift our center of gravity backwards so our weight goes over the back leg, allowing us to lift the toes up of your front foot. Now you can stay in contact with your support. Nice and tall though. So you're going to start to feel some effort now through that back leg, especially through the hip area. I want you to try and endure it, but rest if it becomes impossible to endure. Think about what you're doing with your hand. So try, if you can, just to rest your fingertips on the chair, or even lift the hand off the chair. Okay, just a few more seconds in this position. Let's take it a little bit further. Can you lift that front foot off the ground now? Just a couple of inches, so you stood on one leg. Use your chair if you need to use your chair. A few more seconds, and know that standing leg is achy. Okay, and relax there, relax there. Give your legs a bit of a shake. Just pedal out those feet, especially that standing leg, especially through that hip. Give it a little bit of a shake if you need to. Everyone all right? You're not happy with me, are you? Doing balance exercises at this time on a Friday morning. Okay. Right, that achy leg is now going to be the lead leg as we switch sides. So let's go into the tightrope first of all. So you might be better on one side compared to the other, so don't worry too much about it. So if you were on your tightrope on the other leg, this side you might need to go onto your balance beam. And it's just a couple of inches, but it sometimes just helps, like I say, if you do have issues with your hips or your knees, just sliding that foot across so that you're still getting that balance training. So that's quite essential. So, whichever position you're in, think about your feet for a moment. Okay? Have you got your weight distributed equally? So we're not leaning forwards, we're not leaning back. We're trying to stay centered. And then we're trying to lift ourselves up. So we're trying to be nice and tall. Lengthen that spine. Think about your postures. That imaginary piece of string coming out the top of your head, stretching you up towards the ceiling. Your hand is resting or holding lightly onto the back of your support. We're not gripping it for dear life. You're looking at something straight ahead that isn't going to move. And then think about what you're doing with your hand. Can you let go? Do you just need a fingertip? And you might be noticing that your feet, your ankles, your lower leg are working really quite hard to maintain this balanced position. Making very small movements to keep you balanced. Just a few more moments. And then relax there. Step off your tightrope or your balance beam and just give your legs just a little bit of a shake. Don't forget which was your lead foot, because we're going to go back into that tightrope position now. So straight back into it, into either your tightrope or your balance beam. You've got that muscle memory of how it feels, so you should be straight there with your center of gravity and with that weight distribution over both feet. Nice and tall. Keep your hand in contact with your support. Just for the moment, we're going to rock back. So we're going to shift our center of gravity backwards over that back leg, allowing us to lift the toes up of our front foot. So we're effectively balanced on 1 and a bit feet. Still thinking about your posture. I know that pressure will start to build almost straight away in that hip. Think about what you're going to do with your hand. What can you do on this side? Try and endure that build up, that achiness in that standing leg, but not so that it's painful. And now we're going to try and lift that front foot just a couple of inches off the floor. You can keep hold of your support if you need to, or just rest a fingertip on your support. It's only a couple of inches, that foot off the ground. And relax there. Give those legs a shake. All right? Again, just shaking it out. And that tension that develops in those hips. Yeah, not very happy with me, I bet. Okay, so let's just do, I am going to be doing a little bit more with tightrope, so I'm just checking my list that's down on the floor. I am going to be doing a little bit more with the tightropes in a moment, but I'm just going to give your hips just a little bit of a breather. And I'm going to do some side steps. I'm going to do some dynamic side steps. Best way of doing this here, where you can see me. Right, so this isn't going to be easy to do. Let me just move some furniture around. Right, so what I want you to do is I want you to stand behind your support. So this might be the back of your couch or your wall or your chair or whatever it is. So you're facing your support. So side steps. Let me show you first of all, and then you've got an idea of what's going on, and then we'll get into it. So imagine I'm stood behind my support. I know it's over there at the moment, but imagine I'm stood behind my support. I'm going to start off with my feet together. Let me come back here so you can see my head. So what we're going to do, side steps. You'll notice it's a step that I'm doing here. I'm not doing those big lunges that we did on Tuesday. I'm stepping and I'm going to bring my other foot in. Here's my support, my imaginary support. So I'm going to do 2 or 3 steps, but I'm going to stay in contact with my support. And then I'm going to come back the other way. I'm going to come back the other way. All the time, I'm just going to have my hand available on my support. So if you do your dancing or anything like that, this should be familiar to you, obviously without a chair. Right. So you stood behind your support. Stood behind your support. Nice and tall. Your feet start off together. I want you to think about your posture. Step out. So foot in. Step out. Foot in. Once you get to the extent of your chair, just go back the other direction. Just go back the other direction. So I just want you to get used to moving side to side. If you think that you can let go of your support, then give it a go. Looking forwards, looking ahead. You don't need to be looking down on your toes. You don't need to be looking down on your support. You know where it is. I just want you to go backwards and forwards. Sorry, side to side. Sorry, not backwards and forwards, otherwise you'll end up crashing into your support. Okay, when you come back to the center, just have a moment and just give your legs just a bit of a shake. Right, I'm going to try something difficult now. So you don't need to do this if you don't want to. We're going to do the same again. We're going to go side to side. We're going to stay within reach of our support, depending on how much space you've got. If you want added difficulty, as you are looking ahead, close your eyes. If you want to, all right? Clearly, if you're not happy with your little environment that you're exercising in and you don't think it's safe, then please don't. All right, a little bit of common sense. But if you think, I've got a little bit of room here, quite like the idea of what Alison's saying, then give it a go. All right, so just think about your posture. You can stay in contact with your chair. You can always open your eyes at any point if you need to. So just 2 or 3 side steps in one direction, 2 or 3 side steps in the other direction. Keep your head lifted. And if your eyes were open, you are looking ahead. You don't need to do this with your eyes closed if you do not feel comfortable. And when you come back to the center, steady there, relax there, and give your legs a little bit of a shake, and open your eyes. All right, have I still got everyone? Let me just double check. No one's tripped over the cat or anything like that. Let me just double check. Yeah, oh, Andrew's waving at me. big smile. Okay. I'll take that as a good sign. Right, okay. So, tightrope, back on the tightrope, or your balance beam. This time, so you've just done those side steps. A little bit of a shimmy, we'll do some dancing next week. This time, we're going to do a tightrope walk. And again, you're going to be within reach of your support, so it's only going to be perhaps 3 or 4 tightrope steps. So, if this is you, sorry, hang on a minute. If this is your support, then just give yourself a bit of an arm's reach backwards so that you've got room to move forwards, if that makes sense. Right, so I'm going to start back here. Way to get onto your tightrope or balance beam, whichever version you're doing. We're going to stand up nice and tall. We're in arm's length of our support. And what we're going to do, transfer our weight over our front foot, swing the other foot back down onto our tightrope. So our tightrope walk, nice and smooth, staying in contact with your support. And then once you get to the end, you're going to go backwards. Think of your posture. It's only 2 or 3 steps. 2 or 3 steps. That heel toe movement, very deliberate, very controlled. 2 or 3 steps forward, 2 or 3 steps backward. Clearly going backwards is a challenge, or more challenging, more dangerous. So please do take care. If you're not happy doing the backwards bit, then don't worry. Just reposition yourself so that you've got space to travel forwards. If you're doing that on the balance beam, it's exactly the same, except you have got those few inches separation horizontally between your feet. How are we doing? All right. So when you get back to your support, or the center of your support, just relax there and give those legs a little bit of a shake. Right, again, added difficulty, but only if you want to. If you're quite happy with that movement going forwards and backwards, and you do want some added difficulty, what we're going to try and do is close our eyes. If you're not comfortable doing it, then don't close your eyes. The third option is to do a 50-50. So perhaps you want to walk forwards with your eyes closed, but you want to go backwards with your eyes open. All right? So you've repositioned yourself just behind your support, so you're at arm's length, either onto your tightrope or onto your balance beam. Remember, either eyes closed, eyes open, or 50-50. Like a game show, isn't it? Just set yourself, first of all, into your posture. Think about the weight distribution on your feet. Then, if you're going to close your eyes, and then start to move. Use your support. Remember, you're only going as far as your support will allow. So you're staying within contact or within reach of your support, and then just nice and smooth. You're not gripping that support for dear life. You might just be resting a fingertip or two on your support. I certainly wouldn't recommend completely letting go of your support, certainly not if you're going backwards. So just a couple of more movements. And then when you get back to the center, relax there, and you can open your eyes. Whew, everyone all right? Let me just double check. You haven't got any casualties? Oh, look at that, you all look marvelous. Some of you are even smiling. Right, okay. You can put your tightrope to one side now. We're going to get our swings out, our flamingo swings. So more dynamic balance now. This one, we have a return to that effort, that achiness that builds in the hips. Oh joy, I hear you cry. Right, so we're standing side on to your support. So you've got your hand in contact with your support. The leg that's closest to your support is going to plant down onto the ground. That is going to be your supporting leg. The leg that's closest to your support is the one that's going to get achy. The other leg is going to do the dynamic bit. So we're going to stand up nice and tall. So this outside leg is going to sweep up to the front and sweep behind. So you can see I'm bending to the front, I'm bending behind. So it's this metronomic swinging movement. Nice and smooth, nice and smooth. So you're getting the movement through the hip, you're getting the strength building in your standing leg. Once you're into your rhythm, think about what you want to do with your hand. So as before with the other balance exercises, you might just want to keep a fingertip in contact with your support. You might feel, oh, I can let go here. I'm all right. So it's just your leg that's moving. The rest of your body, your head, your chest, your back, tries to stay nice and still. It is not swinging with that leg. It's just the leg that's moving. That effort, that pressure is building in that standing leg. And as before, you're just trying to fight through it. You are trying to endure it. Just a few more sweeps. And relax there. Give those legs a little bit of a shake. We all right? Okay. You may want to either turn around or switch around your support. I'm just going to move my support over this way. Because remember, our standing leg, so the one that has just been swinging, is now going to be our standing leg. So we're going to plan that leg down. It's going to be the closest one to our support. Our hand is resting on our support. We're nice and tall. The leg that's just been still, but with the effort building in the hip, is now going to be the one doing the swinging. So we're going to lift that knee up to the front, sweep it behind us, forwards and backwards. And again, this metronomic, nice, smooth movement. And as you get into your rhythm, think about what you can do with your other hand on your support. So just raising it a couple of inches. You can always put it back down. And before long, it doesn't take long, you start to feel that effort building in your standing leg. Do rest if you need to rest. You can always join back in once you've just give your legs a little bit of a shake out. So a couple more sweeps with our leg. And relax there. And give those legs a little bit of a shake. How are we doing? All right? Okay, so I'm going to do one final dynamic balance exercise. A personal message here. Mum, this one might not be for you, Mum. All right? So don't be put on a brave face for this one. All right, Mum? Mum, that's for you, Mum. All right? Or anyone else who's got a lower leg injury. So we're going to do tiptoe walking. Tiptoe walking, exactly what it says on the tin. We're going to be walking on our tiptoes. As before, when we were doing the other dynamic walking exercises, we're going to stay within reach, within arm's length of our support. So again, it's only going to be 3 or 4 tiptoe walks forwards and then 3 or 4 tiptoe walks backwards within reach of your support. So again, as before, you might just want to just take a few steps behind your support, but still within arm's reach. We're going to come up onto our tiptoes. We're nice and tall. We're not looking down on our toes. We don't need to look down. We're looking straight ahead, keeping in contact with your support, and we're going to stay on our tiptoes. Tippy toes forwards, tippy toes backwards. Tippy toes forwards, tippy toes backwards. Doesn't take much, does it? You don't need a lot of space. We're staying in contact with our chair. If you need to, or so if you want to, you can try taking your hands off your support, but it's always there if you need it. And you're probably starting to feel those calf muscles now. So relax there, just relax there and just give your legs a little bit of a shake. Heels next. So we're going to do heel walking. Exactly the same. Staying in contact with our support. A little bit trickier this one, because as we do it, as I mentioned, when we do this static, when we lift our toes up, there is that danger of going backwards. So it's much more challenging, this one, especially from a balance perspective. Do what you can. All right, so in contact with your support, chest lifted, toes off the ground. Don't be looking down. We're not doing this. We're staying up. Heels. So on your heels, 3 or 4 steps forwards, 3 or 4 steps backwards. And if you feel comfortable in taking your hand off your support, then give it a go. Keep your head lifted. Don't be looking down at your toes. Forwards and backwards. Hope the neighbours can't see you lot. What's she up to? All right, and relax there. Give those legs a bit of a shake. Right, last bit. We're going to do those 2 exercises again. Heel walk and then toe walk. If you want to try it with your eyes closed, please do. Or, as I've mentioned before, you can split it. You can keep your eyes open if you want to. Or you can do eyes closed in one direction, eyes open in the other. So, back in contact with your support. We're going to come up onto our tiptoes first of all. If you want to close your eyes at this point, please do. And then we're going to walk forward. Remember, staying in contact with your support. Much harder. You can open your eyes if you need to, just to orientate yourself at any point. Just come back to the center. I'm not going to spend too long doing that. Same again. This time you're walking on your heels. Again, optional. If you want to try it with your eyes closed, please do. So, toes up, heels down. Keep your head lifted. Don't be looking down on your toes. Close your eyes. Walking forwards. Walking backwards. Just a couple of steps forwards and backwards. Oh, open your eyes if you need to orientate yourself, if you find you wavering. Marvellous. All right, relax there, relax there. Just give those legs a little bit of a shake. Everyone all right? I hope so. Right, take a seat for me. Take a seat for me. You've earned that, sit down. Everyone all right? Let me just double check. I haven't got anyone in a snotty heap. Sorry, Mum, by the way, I knew you had a bad leg. Oh, blimey. Right, so that's the hard work done. Onto some stretches. So nice and relaxed as always. Let's go straight onto some leg stretches. Let me just move my... Sat on a really high one today. So let's extend a leg out. Let me come around here. And then point those toes up towards the ceiling. I'm just going to hold this stretch so that we get that stretch through the Achilles and through the calf. And then we're pointing our toes forwards on that leg. And then coming back, pointing those toes up towards the ceiling. Just relax that foot. You're going to put both hands now onto your bent leg. Sitting up tall just to try and lengthen that spine. take the weight of your torso onto your bent leg as you lean forwards until you start to feel that stretch run through the back of that thigh. And as always with this one, you are just trying to relax. And the more you can relax, the deeper you'll sink into that stretch. If you do want a more intense stretch here, you can point your toes up towards the ceiling and you'll know it. You'll know if you've got it. It'll be like, oh yes, I can feel that. So you can relax there and push yourself back up. We're going to do the same on the other side, so extend your other leg out. Try and get it nice and straight. And then point your toes up towards the ceiling. And point your toes forwards. And then toes back up towards the ceiling. And relax, both hands onto your bent knee. Just lengthen that spine. And then taking the weight of your torso onto that bent leg as you lean forwards to enjoy that hamstring stretch. Take a breath out if you think that will help. Just drop slightly deeper into your stretch. And if you do want to intensify by pointing your toes up, then please do. And then relax that foot and gently push yourself back up to your seated position. I am going to do the more difficult of the hip stretches today. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. So if you cannot cross your ankle onto your opposite knee, for whatever reason, might be restricted by the chair, you might have a sore hip. Don't try and do this next stretch. Your options are this one, all right? So give that knee a good hug. If you are able to cross your ankle onto your opposite knee, then give that a go. If you can't manage this position, don't worry, do this instead, all right? If you are in this position, if you apply just a little bit of pressure onto that knee, you'll feel the stretch in your hip. And now if you lean forwards, just a couple of inches, it doesn't need to be massive, you will start to feel that stretch through the bum. And then push back up, and whichever version you're doing, you're going to drop that leg back down to the ground. So onto the other side, you might be different on the other side. So again, if you prefer, you can do the knee hug to stretch out through the bum. Or if you are capable of getting your ankle onto your opposite knee, with a little bit of pressure onto the knee, just to add some rotation through the hip, just to stretch out through the hip joint, just be careful. You'll know. And then you can release that pressure, and then with a little bit of a lean forwards to feel the stretch through the bum. And then push back up to your seated position, and everyone's going to drop their legs down to the ground. Okay, a little bit to the upper body as well. So sitting up nice and tall, one hand in front of the other, and then push those hands out to the front to stretch out through the upper back. Just release, and then we'll do that again. See if you can go a little bit further with those hands. Pushing away just a wee bit further. And relax. One more time, pushing away. And relax there. So onto the chest, either. Hands on the small of your back, or you can hold onto your support, onto your chair if you prefer. We're going to roll our shoulders back, and then the chest will follow as you push the chest forward. And relax. So shoulders back first of all, and then press the chest forward to get the stretch through the front of the shoulders and collarbones. And relax. One more time. Shoulders back, chest out. And relax there. Speaking of shoulders, let's do a bit of a shoulder stretch. So an arm across the front of your body. Hold onto your elbow And just gently pulling in on that elbow. And relax, and then the other side. Across the front, onto the elbow, just gently pulling in. And relax out of there. Other arm, we're going to reach down the back of the head. Try and bring your fingers down the back of your neck. You can push your elbow up towards the ceiling just to try and get that stretch through the side of the arm, through the back of the arm and then through the side of the body. And release. And then the other arm, again, trying to get it through to the back of the head or even the back of the neck or even between the shoulder blades. If you're very, very flexible, you can push that elbow up towards the ceiling. And then easing out of that. A little bit of a twist, so one hand onto your opposite knee. The other hand is going to hold onto the side of your chair. We're going to sit up. And then using this hand on your knee as a lever, we're going to rotate around. And again, you're trying to move from the waist. You're not simply just turning your head and twisting your shoulders. You want the whole of your torso to try and rotate around. And then coming back through to the center. We're going to do the other side, your other hand onto your opposite leg, holding onto your support or even the small of your back. You can sit up tall and then pull yourself around. Still trying to maintain that length through the posture, that nice tall body position. And then slowly coming back through to the center. Shoulders up and down. And then just roll your shoulders backwards. I'm going to just slip in the lower back stretch. We did some stretching for the lower back at the start, and we'll put it in at the end as well. We're just going to do the static one. At the start, we did the lean-ins and the twist-ins and all that sort of stuff. So just the static one. Remember, if you don't want to do it, hold your horses. Pat left us and now is coming back. You know what it? So remember, for the lower back, if you're just thinking about your lower back and you think it's done enough today, so you're trying to protect your lower back, that's absolutely fine. If you do want to join in with the back stretch, we're going to just sit up nice and tall. Sorry, is that Maggie waving at me? You all right? No, she's okay. All right. You put your hands on your knees, and then we're going to gently lean forwards until you start to feel that stretch through the lower back. You're going to take the weight on your knees, certainly in the initial stages, until you start to feel fairly comfortable. And if you do want that deeper stretch, by all means, you can drop your hands down towards your ankles or the floor. Do try and breathe normally. I know it's difficult. And then hands back on your knees. And then very gently pushing back up to your seated position. As always, just give yourself a few seconds for that blood pressure to equalize. How are we doing? All right. So we're going to finish off with our neck stretches. I'm just going to do the usual neck stretches. I'm not going to do the ones where you're pushing your own head around. Please just sit up nice and tall though. We're going to turn our head and eyes round, pushing the chin around towards the top of our shoulder, looking as far behind us as we can without rotating our shoulders. And then back to the center, turning the head, looking over your other shoulder. And back to the center. And now we're going to tilt the head across. So just let gravity take your head. We're not lifting our other shoulders up to try and cheat. We just want our head to flop across to one side. And back up, and then across to the other side. And back up. Now dropping your chin towards your chest. And looking up towards the ceiling. And coming back down. And finally, gently now, rolling your head around. Imagine you're drawing a circle with your chin. And then very gently back round in the other direction. And relax there. How are we doing? All right. Give your hands a final shake. Give your legs a pat down. They've worked hard today. And give yourself a round of applause. Well done, everyone. Everyone all right?